I'm tired of seeing all these people saying, you're a Christian, you need to support Israel. How does that logically follow? And they always go on, and it's always Protestants, and I'm a Protestant too. I'm a Protestant, but I always have to deal with Protestants saying, you're a Christian, you should support Israel. And they say, well, it's because they're God's people. And really, this is a low IQ argument, alright? How are they God's people? They were God's people in the Old Testament, and God made a deal with them. He's like, alright, I'm going to give you a Messiah. Alright? And you know what they did? They killed him. Yeah, it didn't need to happen. It was prophesized. But at the end of the day, they killed him. And what did Paul say? There's no Jew, no Gentile. So everyone's united under Christ. It opened up. The church, God's people, became Christians. God's people are Christians in one sense. Everyone is God's people in one sense, but Christians are God's people in another sense. There's no exclusivism for people that hate God, essentially, because remember, we're talking about Judaism right now. Judaism teaches that Jesus is boiling in excrement for eternity. Now, someone's like, well, it's not actually eternity, it's for a finite amount of time. I don't care. Same thing. They're saying Jesus, Christ himself, God, is boiling in excrement for eternity. They hate Jesus. Yeshua, whatever word they use for Jesus. That's literally a slur to a lot of rabbis. And a lot of rabbis censor Isaiah 53 as well. These people don't like Jesus. So, I've already made a video talking about Judeo-Christian, how that's an oxymoron, but in any case, and YouTube doesn't like the subject at all, so I gotta, tiptoeing around a little bit. But in any case, I'm talking about Israel, alright? Essentially, what they've done, and this isn't even the Israel of the Old Testament. This is completely different. They don't follow the same rules. They don't have the same lineage of leaders. It's just, here's what happened, okay? This is the low IQ stuff from Protestants, alright? Protestants, essentially, if you got a turd, you just plopped it on a table, and excuse me, but this is really the way I have to explain it, is to get the point across. And then you name the turd, this turd is named Israel. And then the Protestants are like, oh, the turd is God's turd. Like, that's basically what happened here, okay? There was a state that was created, they just plotted the name Israel on it. And a lot of them also make the arguments like, well, this is the land Jesus walked on. It's like, well, that land, as far as I recall, belongs to Palestine. Yeah, we don't say, like, Palestinians are God's people. And by the way, I'm not necessarily pro-Palestine. I'm an American. Okay, I don't really care too much about this conflict. The only thing I care about is America not getting involved, because we already got involved in Ukraine, Russia, and we already know how that went. That was a catastrophe. I would like for America not to get involved in Israel. Is that too much to ask for? And I don't want Protestants telling me, Christians telling me, well, you have to support Israel because they're God's people. Not in the sense you mean it. They don't even like God. They hate God because they hate Jesus. And of course I'm referring to people who actually follow the values of Judaism, whether they be atheists. There's a lot of atheists, secular Jewish people who say they're secular atheists, but they actually follow. It's like they have the commandments of Judaism, but for example, they don't eat pork. They have certain views of people who aren't Jew by race. I'll let you research about that yourself. Then, of course, you have the people who are practicing Jews. Then you have the Jews, the people on our team, the Jews who are Messianic Jews, who came to Christ. They're on our team. But in any case, Israel, for the most part, are secular Jewish people or Jews who follow Judaism. That doesn't mean they are God's people. I know, just because they have the Star of David, I'm not even sure if it actually is the Star of David, but they have the Star of David, I'll put in quotes in case it's actually not, and they have the name Israel. And then Christian Protestants just go crazy, oh my God, Israel. The way you should view this war is very simple. Assuming you're an American, if you're an Israeli, then okay, support Israel, that's your country, that makes sense. If you're a Palestinian, support your country, that makes sense. Okay? But in any case, if you're an American like me, and most of you watching are probably Americans, unless you have family in either region, you shouldn't care that much. You need to worry about what's happening here. And you need to worry about yourself, actually, because this is what I'm tired of all these nerds on the internet going like, And even this is even the Palestinians, okay? Like I said, I'm not pro-Palestine. I'm not here, sucking on any Palestinian balls, all right? But I'm also not sucking on Israel's balls. I'm looking at this objectively. If a bunch of people on both sides go on social media like, oh, this other side's so bad, they're like sitting like me in America, having nothing to do with this war. If you actually wanted to make a difference, if you really, really wanted to make a difference in this conflict, why don't you work on yourself, make some money, and then go donate to them? That's far more productive than you going on social media going like, the people are dying, it's so bad. And you might ask me, is this a genocide? Probably. I'll say probably. But guess what? This type of stuff happens all over the world. Bad stuff happens in the world. I know, it's sad. There's kids dying. It is bad. I'd rather the kids not die. I'd rather Israel stop carpet bombing Gaza. But guess what? This is what happens in the world. Now, what I'm not going to say is this should keep happening. Because we have people like Ben Shapiro. If you're a Christian, you have to move on from Ben Shapiro. Because Ben Shapiro is a hack. All right, he's a hack from the Christian perspective. From the Jewish perspective, he's not a hack. But, he's a hack in the sense that, like Judeo-Christian, I believe in Judeo-Christian values. He just tries shoehorning himself into our values. He doesn't even know much about the Old Testament, for example. I mean, look at his debate with William Lane Craig. Not only did he back out, he also didn't understand anything about the subject. But in any case, yeah, Ben Shapiro lost the debate, I know. If you're one of these people, like me, how I used to be, and you're just, all on Ben Shapiro, you think Ben Shapiro never loses debates. It's not true. William Lane Craig has a much better track record in debate than Ben Shapiro. And William Lane Craig actually debates real people. Ben Shapiro, most of his debate clips come from debating a bunch of retarded college kids. Who cares? But in any case, I'm not going to be one of these people who sits in my chair and says, yeah, Israel's got to keep bombing them. Got to keep bombing them. Got to bomb. Kill all the kids. Kill the kids. And if you don't support it, then we're going to get into nuclear war. That's what Ben Shapiro did, essentially. Little chicken neck. Little geek. I'm not going to call him. Yeah. Bill Gates is a chicken neck. I have to come up with a different name. Benocide Shapiro. I don't support Israel bombing Gaza at all. It is probably genocide. It's a sad thing. I'm just telling you to acknowledge reality, though. If I could, snap my fingers and all these kids would stop dying and the bombs would stop going off, I would. But guess what? I can't. The only thing, if I really want to make a difference in this war, it's not to virtue signal on the internet and send a bunch of photos, war propaganda of a bunch of kids having their legs blown off. It would be to make money or do some kind of activism that allows me to actually make a direct effect. Because really, there's people on both sides that are grifting, as I would say. They get a bunch of war propaganda, and both sides do this, by the way. You get a bunch of war propaganda, kids dying, bad thing, of course. Then the Israelis, they get, October 7th, which, they really should be blaming themselves for, because how does that happen? I mean, let's be honest. How does that happen, given the security of Israel? I mean, Israel probably has one of the most secure borders. I wish our border was that secure. And you're telling me they let some people driving, what were they doing, like driving tractors or whatever that weren't even going that fast, and they somehow got by it, and whatever. I'll probably get me in trouble if I talk too much about that. But in any case. Then the Israelis, they send all stuff. The woman got shot in their thing, and it's terrible. Realize this is all essentially propaganda. Both sides, everyone does this. It's atrocity propaganda. They make you feel really bad and about the other side. But you have to think logically about this. I know this video is mainly about, Protestant Christian obsession with Israel. But when you view any war, there's no good guys in a war. Almost ever. Like sometimes someone just gets bombarded by a bunch of random people, right? But never put too much faith into one side of the war. Now, if you're a resident of a certain area, then okay, yeah, it's probably in the best interest to support them no matter what. Although I would argue that may or may not be the right thing to do, morally. In any case, I'm rambling a bit. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you need to support Israel. If you're a Christian American, you know what you should be doing? Focusing on yourself, looking at America, seeing what you can do to help. And if you really want to make a difference over there, don't go in the comment section go like, why aren't you supporting Israel? Israel's God's people, etc. If you really want to make a difference, go make money and actually do something for them. Don't come in the comment section because it's not going to help. This is all part of a big movement of building back Christian men. All right, we're not puppets. We're not sheep. We can think for ourselves. Just because someone told us, well, Israel's God's people, and you're a Christian, you have to follow them, doesn't mean we're going to follow. We can think critically about it. If you want to join this movement, check the link in the description. Join the Discord. Must-watch videos for Christian men. This is a bit of a side topic video, but usually talk about stuff that actually builds you up. Build back Christian men. Check all the other links in the description. Those will change your life. Guarantee it. Open them up. In any case, those are my call to actions. See you next video. And also subscribe, obviously.